Guess what today is? It's the beginning of a brand new week. And the beginning of a brand new week means that summer is upon us. And I have a very special thank you. See this? This is my prayer cloth from my friends at Daily Walk Ministries. And to Ron Martin, thank you so much for bringing me this. That is so precious. I thank you. I thank you. I love you guys. And thank you so much for your prayers. I know that y'all got to see baby Xana yesterday, so I bet you're excited. I bet everybody at church wanted to hug her and love her and say, oh, we love that baby. Yes, we do love that baby. So, hope you had a great weekend. It was an interesting weekend. It was hot. It was summer is upon us, and so I pulled out some recipes that I did a long time ago with kids. When summer comes, many of you are going to be babysitting your grandkids. Many of you are going to be babysitting your great-grandkids. Many of you are going to be traveling on vacation with your children and your grandchildren. And there will be times you're in the condo with your kids and grandkids, and the adults will go out adulting. You know what adulting means now? Today it really just means having a job. But you will be out with those kids and you'll think, what are we going to do to occupy time? So today we've chosen a bunch of stuff and we're going to share that with you today. But we also have a really cool surprise. And Madeline, this one's for you. We have a lot of music from Mr. Ellijay. Tim spent the weekend editing one of our favorite events last year. And I don't know if y'all remember, but we are in Apple country. Ellijay is truly Apple country. If you are out and about, if you're thinking, I want to get a gift for somebody, go to our local apple houses and buy some local preserves, buy some local apples, buy some local apple bread, and make a gift basket out of that stuff. Support the apple industry in our community because it really does provide jobs and provides really good health for you too, because those apples are an apple a day, keeps the doctor away. On Friday, I got to spend some time with some very, very special people, and we're going to share some photos with you now. These are some of my friends at the Burnt Mountain Center. And when we think about the Burnt Mountain Center 50-year anniversary, 50 years, that they have been supporting and supplying jobs and supplying activities for a very, very special part of our community. These folks worked for over 35 years at the Pickens County Progress, and I know y'all will remember when we had Dan Poole on with the Progress, and we talked about how the newspaper has changed a little bit. Well, the newspaper changed about a month ago, and we now have an article that I do once a week. It's a very simple recipe. I choose one of my favorite simple recipes, and we tell a little story about the recipe, and it's always in the Pickens County Progress. So don't forget to subscribe to or pick up a copy of the Progress. You will find it, as I do. I love having a local newspaper. It is so very important to have a local newspaper. Do you know the local newspaper is a fact checker? They don't fact check like Facebook does or like those other people do. They really fact check it. And last night I was watching something about depression in teens and suicidal thoughts in teens. And because I lost a child to suicide, I really paid attention to this article, and I was watching and listening, and I saw moms and I saw dads who had no idea that their children were depressed. But it was because somebody said something on one of the many medias, whether it be Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, and they were talking about their children. Well, you're overweight, or I don't like your hair color, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. And they were putting these kids down, and the kids developed a horrible depression that took them to a point of suicide. And I thought about that. Somebody has to be accountable in what is said and put in front of your children. Somebody needs to be accountable. A local newspaper would be accountable because they would check their facts. They wouldn't say hurtful and harmful things. And that's why I think it's so important that we maintain that local newspaper, those local newspapers that have been around for years and years and years. So to them, there's the crew that worked at the Pickens County Progress. That is Burnt Mountain Center as they celebrated 50-year anniversary. It was such an honor to be able to be there. It was an honor to be a part of the celebration because they are truly celebrating keeping so many people working and enjoying their jobs. And there were actually a few members there who were part of the original few who started the Burnt Mountain Center. And it was just so cool to be a part of that. I was really appreciative that they had invited me, and I thank Debbie Ricker so much, because she has done so much for the community. She's been there for 43 years. And when we think about a 43-year career, she's not ready to quit. She's not ready to retire. She's ready to keep on doing what she does and loving what she does. And isn't it amazing to have a job that you love that much? And there she is, and she's with a representative from Warnock's office, yeah. And I was surprised that they came all the way up from Atlanta, and I think that was really cool. So thank you to everybody who was there, and thank you to everybody who supports the Burnt Mountain Center, whether you volunteer. And there's my little Betty. There is Jason, and what an honor to get to spend a little time with him. And he doesn't call me Sherry Martin; he calls me Sorry Martin. So, and he is a sweetheart. So to Jason and to everybody. And there is my beautiful Victoria as she attended the Emmy Awards on Saturday night. Last year she won an Emmy. This year she was nominated, and she did not win, but that's okay. To be nominated in a field of the people that she was up against is just absolutely amazing. So that's she and her daddy, and I'm so glad that he got to go with her to Seattle, and they got to be there, and it was just amazing. So I'm so happy. Last year she won, and she didn't get to travel there. And then that's what you call pride and joy. That is baby Xana, and I love that y'all are loving keeping up with her. So we had an estate sale this weekend and sold a bunch of stuff, sold a bunch of quilts, sold a bunch of dishes, sold a whole bunch of stuff, and everybody kept saying, well, we want to buy the baby. Well, you can't. And there's sweet Aunt Vicky, who loves that baby. She is so precious, and she went to Vicky like she had known her forever and just loves her, loves her, loves her. So it was just so precious, so precious. But that's what it's about. When the summer comes, you want to spend time with your babies.
Oh,
you want to spend
goodness.
time, if you're traveling
Sam,
with them,
all
you want to
dressed
keep them
up,
occupied.
and it's time to go to
And so I've
Waffle
chosen a
House.
bunch of really simple, cool
boy.
recipes that you
Oh,
can
boy.
share with your children and
Is
your
it time to go
grandchildren,
eat?
and they will have these memories. That's one of the things. My grandmother left me with a whole bushel of memories. She taught me to string beans. She taught me to bake. She tried to teach me to make biscuits, and she wasn't very successful, although her sister was. And Granny taught me a lot of things about the simpler life, and I'm very appreciative of that. So we are going to go to one recipe. This is probably the recipe that nailed it with me, that I loved doing what I do. Lori Tipton had come to visit. The Progress had come and done an article about the house that I was restoring. And then ETC sent a couple of people out, and we did a couple of interviews, and we visited, and we did this and that. And then Lori Tipton came, and everybody knows the rest is history. She said, would you be willing to do a segment once a week? And I said, I don't know if I have time. Well, I've been doing it ever since, and I loved it. So this is one of the recipes that we went out into a classroom in Pickens County. All of these kids have graduated from school now. Many of them have already graduated from college, but it was such a fun recipe. Y'all write down how you do this. It is something your kids and your grandkids will love doing, and it is super simple, and you can do it in less than 10 minutes. So we're going to go to this recipe, and then for all of you Dwight Sanford, Mr. Ellijay lovers, and there's a bunch of you out there, you're going to get to hear the music that he did at the Apple Festival. We're going to do a little bit of that, and we're going to switch between recipes because we've got 5 really good recipes we're going to share with you. It's going to be a fun day. Get your paper, get your pencil, and write down these simple recipes.
Martin. Tonight on Heart of the Home, I am so pleased I brought Angela Burgess, my daughter, to Miss Nolan's 4th grade science class, and we're going to do a simple recipe that you gave me. Now, this is so simple, and we know it starts with Mayfield milk, because Mayfield is one of our sponsors, and we do love Mayfield milk. So, guys, we're going to do this very quick and very easy. The ingredients, Angela, are what?
1 tablespoon of sugar, a 1/2 cup of milk, or half and half, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, 6 tablespoons of rock salt, 1 pint-sized Ziploc plastic bag, 1 gallon-sized Ziploc plastic bag, and ice cubes.
Sounds simple enough. We are actually going to make homemade vanilla ice cream. Not as good as Scotty Mayfield would make, but it's going to be good, isn't it?
Yes, it
Now, Miss Nolan promised me, she's done this recipe several times, so guys, we're going to get into it now. And Miss Nolan, you're going to give me half a cup of Mayfield whole milk. There you go, there you go. And Angela, would you please add the sugar?
1 tablespoon of sugar.
Okay. And vanilla flavoring. You know, vanilla smells so good, but it doesn't really taste real good, does it? Until it comes out in your ice cream.
Only got 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla.
We're measuring, now we're going to put this in our bag, and do you want to get the bag of ice ready for us, Miss Nolan? Oh, that smells good. Vanilla does smell so good. And remember, guys, one of the tricks that Miss Nolan told us is make sure that we seal our bags really, really tight.
Good.
Okay, now we have our ice, and we're adding the rock salt, which is also known as ice cream salt.
Tell me when.
That looks about good. Okay. Now, this is our ice cream freezer. Now, what about that? How simple is that? Make sure that you seal your bags correctly. Now, Angela, honey, you're the youngest and you're the prettiest. So, you are going to do what now? You're going to make ice cream.
I'm going to shake this bag up.
You're going to make ice cream. Do you
And
do it
say,
over and over?
do it on the table. Like a gazillion times. Work off some frustrations.
That's right.
Homework troubles. Waiting for recess to come.
Now, we know this is so awesome because no pans, no heat, and we're using our great Mayfield milk, right? Is
Right.
this the simplest thing you ever saw?
Right.
Wow. Okay, Angela, now you know I was teasing you. It's not 30 minutes. It's only 5 to 7 minutes.
Cool. Oh, it is. It's getting thick.
It's getting thick.
It's starting to get thick.
I just thought you looked like you wanted to do this for 30 minutes. Isn't that awesome? Can't believe this was ready in 5 to 7 minutes.
I know.
And it really is frozen, and it smells as good as Scotty
really smells
Mayfield's
good.
ice cream because it has Mayfield milk in
Yes.
it, doesn't it? Yeah.
We have to try
Now,
it.
Can we try this? Wow. Wow, guys. Awesome. That is awesome.
You're my mama. Let me taste.
You can do it. That's right. Now, we could add peaches or strawberries
Only
to
eat
it.
after your mama, not strangers.
That's right. That's right. Oh, wow. Isn't it great? That is
Cool.
awesome now.
Really good.
This was such a simple recipe, and I am so glad Miss Nolan submitted it. We love doing new things. This was a great idea.
This was perfect.
Guys, thank you so much, and thank Miss Nolan, and thank you to Jasper Elementary School. This has been a learning process for me. Did y'all learn something today? Yes. And you learned you always tune in to ETC for Heart of the Home. Bye-bye.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
The mountains are calling, and they're closer than you think. Farmers Crossing in Ball Ground offers creekside lots with homes beginning in the 400s. Walking distance to downtown shopping, dining, tennis courts, Calvin Farmer Park, and local events. It also includes a beautiful hike to Long Swamp Creek. Leave the car and the worries behind. Move in by fall 2023. Call Sherry Martin at 404-375-0590 or Evelyn Calhoun at 770-733-0779.
Georgia Medical Treatment Center now has 2 locations to bring you the high-quality holistic care you've come to know and expect. We treat neck, back, and joint pain with chiropractic care and injection-based treatment without the need for surgery or prescription painkillers. Our medical weight loss program can also provide relief while ridding your body of toxins, pounds, and inches while improving your overall health. Call today for a free consultation, 770-345-2000, or go online to georgiamtc.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the skies, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country road, I hear her voice in the morning hour. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. I'm driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Country roads. Thank you. If I'm known for anything good in this world, it'd have to be for singing this song. There's a long line of mourners coming down our street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. They're all of your rich friends that knew you in the city, and now they finally brought you back to me. The papers told of how you lost your life, of the party and the fatal crash that night, the race on the highway, the curve nobody seen. Now you're riding in that long black limousine. Well, now when you left home, you told me that someday you'd be returning with a fancy car for the whole town to see. Well, everybody's watching now, and I guess you finally got your dream. You're riding in one of them long black limousines. Through tears I watch as you ride by, with a chauffeur at the wheel, dressed up so fine. I'll never love another. My heart and all my dreams are with you in that long black limousine. I'll never love another. My heart and all my dreams ride with you in that long black limousine. Thank you. I got to get my guitar out of tune to do this one. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to reveal my age. In 1978, I played the first one of these that they had. Okay? At the time, it was called the Kusawati River Festival, and it changed over to the Apple Festival after that. I played that very first thing, and to that very day, it was a day just like this one, and Bo and Daisy was here. Bo and Daisy came that day with the General Lee, and they parked it right out there, and I was singing to them, but I didn't sing this. Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they were born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how, That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Just two good old boys, wouldn't change if they could. Working the system like a true modern day Robin Hood. Making their way the only way they know how. And that's just a little bit more than the law allows. Just two good old boys, wouldn't change if they could. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law allows. Making their way the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law allows. Just two good old boys. Well, he didn't have the boy with him that day. He had Daisy Duke. And I saw her in my dreams for 4 months following that. I don't know if I'm okay yet or not. There you go. Here's a pretty little song that tells a story about a fella that was born to a mother who was really young. Could that be you? She was just 16 and all alone when I came to be. We grew up together, my mama, child, and me. Now things were bad and I was scared, but whenever I would cry, she'd calm my tears and drown my fears with a rock and roll lullaby. And she'd sing sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, it'll be alright. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, just hold on tight. Sha-na-na, thank you. Sha-na-na-na, it'll be alright. Nothing soothes my soul like the sound of a good old rock and roll lullaby. Now we made it through the lonely years when all the nights were long. We dreamed of better moments while Mama sang her song. And I can't recall the words at all. It wouldn't make sense to try. I just knew lots of love came through in that rock and roll lullaby. And she'd sing sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, it'll be alright. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na, just hold on tight. Sha-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, it'll be alright. Nothing soothes my soul like the sound of a good old rock and roll lullaby. Nothing soothes my soul like the sound of a good old rock and roll lullaby. Sweet little song. Here are the Lions Club ladies. Thank you. By the way, somebody brought some money up here and throwed it down. I want to tell you this. If you feel like giving any money, I'm going to give it to the special friends. And I'm also giving the money I'm making today to the special friends. So if you want to give something, I'll hand it straight over to them, every penny of it. Well, let's break into some, how are we doing so far? Y'all enjoying any of this? You liking it? You liking it okay? I want to shout out a big thank you to ETC Television. It's our local, not so local. They run from Turtletown to Ball Ground. They cover all that in Murphy, North Carolina too. It's a television station. They have security, internet, and everything. They're fine folks. They're recording this live today, and I thank them very much. You want something snappy? Okay, snappy it is. My name is Dwight Sanford. You got t-shirts and CDs over here. If you see anything, hear something you like, it's probably on one of those CDs. You know what that is? How could you? You'll recognize it. Uptown got its hustlers, the Bowery got its bums, 42nd Street got Big Jim Walker. He's a pool shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he's big and dumb as a man can come, and he's stronger than a country house. And when the bad folks all get together at night, you know they all call Big Jim boss, just because they say you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. From out of South Alabama came a country boy, said he was looking for a man named Jim. I'm a pool shooting boy, my name is Willie McCoy, but down home they call me Slim. Yeah, he was looking for the gang on 42nd Street, driving a drop-top Cadillac. Last week he took all my money, and it may sound funny, but I come to get my money back. Everybody said, Jack, don't you know? You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slim. Well, a hush fell over the pool room when Jimmy come bopping in off the street. And when the cutting was done, the only part that wasn't bloody was the soles of the big man's feet. Yeah, he was cutting about 100 places. He was shot in a couple more. And you'd better believe they sung a different kind of story when Big Jim hit the floor. Everybody said, Jack, don't you know? You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slim. Yeah, Big Jim found out where it's at. He found out you don't go around hustling people strange to you, even if you do got a two-piece custom-built pool cue. Yeah, you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slim. do. Do 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 do. Oh. What a racket, what a racket. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Sherry Martin. Tonight on Heart of the Home, my guest, Miss Courtney Barrett. I met you at a go-kart track, didn't I? Because you race go-karts and my son races go-karts. I used to drag race, and I know what it was like to be the woman on the track, and you're one of the few women who race go-karts, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've been doing it how long?
About a year.
About a year. Now, my Nick loves go-kart racing. He loves it so much, we cut our trip to Alaska short. He was in Alaska fishing, and we had to come home to go to the state race where we saw you. So it's good to have hobbies, but sometimes they run into each other, don't they? Now, do you fish?
Yes, I do.
Good. What do you like to fish for?
Anything bass. We have a little pond in our neighborhood
Do
we fish
you?
for all the time.
Well, tonight we're going to cook some halibut. And Nick brought this in from Alaska, and I've never tried this recipe before, but it sounded really good, and it sounded kind of strange. I'd never cooked with potato flakes. But our breading is going to be potato flakes. The recipe is in a cookbook that my daughter brought me back from Homer, Alaska, called The Best of the Best from Alaska Cookbook. So we've cut the little halibut into chunks, and we are going to batter it in ranch dressing, and then we're going to drop it into potato flakes. Now that just sounded strange to me. What do you think about it? Have you ever cooked with potato flakes before?
Never used
Never
potato
have. And see how white they are. I wasn't sure how it was going to work, but we're going to try it. What do you think?
Let's give it a shot.
Let's do it. We did these in 1-inch bites. They're not very big, and they don't take very long to cook, and you have to be careful. Just like you have to be careful with your nails when you're racing, because those hot pink fingernails could get caught in a steering wheel, couldn't they? Now, you got to be careful about that. Now, we're taking our halibut, dipping it in ranch dressing, and then Courtney's rolling it in the potato flakes, which is just really strange. And it's really strange to have a race car driver with hot pink fingernails, isn't it? It is. It is. That is so cute. Do you ever break a nail when you're racing?
No.
No, that's the
But they
important
get
thing. Yeah, I bet they do. You know, the first day I saw you, you had dirt and grease all down the side of your face, and I thought that was the cutest thing. I said, wow, wow. That was kind of like in Alaska. Women don't care if they shave their legs, don't care if their hair's messed up, and don't care if they have on makeup. Race girls have that attitude too, don't they? Yep. We know what's important in life. Our friend Linda Reinhardt from Alaska said the one important thing about cooking seafood is don't overcook this. And one of the restaurants we ate in, we think it did because it was a little bit dry, and you have to really be cautious about that. So don't overcook your halibut. Now, Miss Courtney, that was as fast and easy as you going around the track. And I bet it's going to be better than a win at a state race. What do you think?
I think so.
I think so. Now, Miss Courtney, those look great. They were fast, and there's something that can make them even better. The only thing wrong with the state of Alaska is they don't have sweet tea. Now, on race night, how important it is to take a gallon of Mayfield sweet tea to the track with you. And we all know I don't measure, but I can guarantee you that's just about the right amount of sugar to go in our tea. Miss Courtney and I are going to enjoy this fish. We're going to enjoy some sweet tea, and we're going to enjoy another race Saturday night. You're going to race at Carnesville again, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to win.
Hopefully.
Absolutely.
So cheer me on.
Whip them boys, that's right. I may get a whipping when I get home, but I'm going to be cheering you on. So it's going to be a great Saturday night. This is a great recipe, guys. Love coming into your home. Bye-bye. Hi, I'm Sherry Martin. Tonight on Heart of the Home, my guest is Kelsey Wood. Kelsey and I spend a lot of time at the go-kart track. You've been racing a couple of years, haven't you? Okay, and you took a little break. Now you're going to go back into racing.
Yep.
And what's the back of your shirt say? Something about you were as fast as me until the green light dropped. And that means she's going to whip you guys. Well, tonight we're going to whip up a quick and easy recipe. Everybody knows my Nick is a little impatient. And Friday night when I got home from work at 10 to 8, he said, Mom, I want pizza, and I want it now. I'm starving. I didn't have pizza crust. I didn't have pizza sauce. So I went to the cabinet, and I got a can of one of my favorite ingredients, the Del Monte basil, garlic, and oregano tomatoes. And Nick says, I don't like chunky stuff. So what's the solution to that?
Get a blender.
Get a blender. And then Nick said, Mom, throw the garlic to it. And we threw the garlic to it, didn't we? Half teaspoon of garlic, guys. Nick won't be breathing on anybody tonight. And he had never had spinach before, but I keep bags of fresh spinach in the refrigerator. So I chopped up spinach and put on it. So we used red bell peppers, green spinach, purple onions, mozzarella cheese, and then we used Rotella tomatoes, which is a little trick that gave it a kick. It's a little bit spicy. And you know, another thing you can do, tomatoes are in, and we just got back, didn't we go to Bryson City, North Carolina, and we went to Darnell Farms, and we got tomatoes. So if you don't like spinach, guys, slice some tomatoes and put on your pizza. The crust is a tortilla shell. It's not a pizza crust at all, and it's so thin and light. And I think that's what I liked about this. It's light, it's easy, it's speedy. It's almost as speedy as going around the go-kart track. But it's light, it's fast, and you're not in the kitchen 15 minutes. That's a great idea for summer. So now, Kelsey, you're going to help me, and we're going to assemble this. Okay, Kelsey, go ahead and put your tomato sauce on your crust. I think 1 big spoonful of that will work. So try that, and then just smooth it out. You know, my home ec teacher started teaching me when I was about your age. And I never forgot the things she taught me. And I still use some of the tricks she taught me today. One of the tricks was whine and your husband will take you out to eat. Now, I'm putting spinach on the tortilla shell with the tomatoes. It just works out great using the Rotel tomatoes. And now we're gonna cover it in cheese. What grade are you in?
I'm going in tonight.
Will you have home ec? Will you? Well, I hope you like your home ec teacher as much as I liked mine. I loved Mrs. Kemp. She was just one of my favorite people. And she taught me a lot of things that I really didn't forget. And if you have a good teacher, it makes a great impression on you. I have a saying, to teach is to touch a life forever, and that's really the truth. I'm adding purple onions. And then I'm going to add red bell peppers. And you know, at Darnell Farms, which is located at exit 69 up in on 74 in Bryson City, they have the red bell peppers, same price as the green ones, which is a bargain, guys. They have great produce. I got a bushel of beans and cabbage and corn, and oh man, it was awesome. Isn't that pretty? Now, Miss Kelsey, what do we do with that next?
Put it in the oven.
You've got it. You're learning. You're learning. We're going to leave it in there for about 9 minutes at 375. Miss Kelsey, it's hot and fresh out of the oven. Can you remember how to do that? I think you can. We love having you in my home. I love coming into yours. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Bye. Hi, I'm Sherry Martin. Welcome to Heart of the Home. Mama Lucy? Yes. Honey, it's hot outside, but you brought me a great recipe that belonged to who?
My sister, Lorraine Hinton.
Well, good. Your sister, Lorraine, may have saved your life because we're going to take her recipe back to get your heart.
Oh, my goodness.
Where are we going to get your heart?
Alaska.
We
Oh,
are.
wow.
Guys, when you're watching us tonight, we're going to be sitting in Alaska having this wonderful recipe that we're going to can and take with us.
Right.
We are cooking up gumbo, and here are the ingredients. Okra, onions, chicken,
Pepper.
shrimp, peppers. We used several different types of peppers. And some Tabasco sauce, some
Parsley.
Worcestershire, parsley, and we just stewed that, didn't we? And then we did a little thickening agent, so
Right.
that was really good.
Made a little roux.
Yeah, and it's a little bit spicy. It's a little bit kicking, isn't it?
Well, that's the tomatoes that, but I use Mexican peppers.
And then we use
tomatoes.
little Tabasco.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The
Well, it
tomatoes in
smells
the
great.
Mexican is a little bit warmer than normal, but I like it.
And when you serve it over the rice, it kind of tones it down, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. This is going to be really good. I have 4 tablespoons of olive oil in my pan, and I've added okra to that. Now we are going to just, not brown, but glaze the okra. And this is going to help with the, hate to say this word, but the slime that comes off okra. And then we will be adding our bell peppers and our onions. Wow, these smell great. Woo, this onion is strong. This is definitely not Avadeo. You would not want to take a bite of this big boy. And we're going to add a dash of Tabasco. And now we're going to add our tomatoes. Color looks great. This is a great dish because on a winter day or on a fall Alaska day, this is a great recipe. I'm for fall Alaska days. Now I'm adding the chicken broth. This is already smelling really good. Now while it's simmering, I'm adding the parsley and the Worcestershire sauce. And there you go, just a little to taste. Now we're gonna simmer, simmer, simmer. Now we're gonna make a thickening agent, which is kind of like making gravy, but we're not making gravy. We're just gonna use some butter. We've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil and approximately 2 tablespoons of butter. And we're gonna let that get hot, and then we're gonna add some flour to it. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of flour, and we're gonna use this as a thickening agent. You don't want it to get too thick. You want it to have a little bit of thickness. And you know this butter is gonna add a little bit of flavor. Now we're gonna add our thickening agent. And we're gonna continue to simmer this. And while it simmers, we are going to talk about our trip. We could go to Denali, but we're going to go back to Homer because we just decided that was our favorite place. Denali's a long drive and no more time than we have. I think Homer's just a great idea. And the Kenai. You know, I have to go back to the Kenai.
Right, we got to see the river.
I have to go see the Kenai. I just want to sit there and look at the beauty because I think God made that just for me. Maybe just for me. I love it. I love it. Okay, now we've got our gumbo almost done, and we're going to add our shrimp. This has been deveined, and it's about 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds of shrimp. Then we're going to add a whole chicken that is pre-cooked. This gumbo's smelling great.
Well, I think it's about time to serve it up,
You
too.
do?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
all righty.
I think it's ready.
Okay. Now, Mama Lucy, we could feel guilty about leaving the boys behind, but we're not going to. We're going to feed them a little bit of gumbo before we leave. We're going to kiss them goodbye, and we're going to Alaska. Y'all are on your own till we get back. Y'all have to find you another cook. Now, remember, this gumbo's hot. There you go, Michael. Now, remember, we'll be back next week, Heart of the Home. We'll be in Alaska, but we're coming home. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I hope that I have coerced you, tempted you, and talked you into taking your children into the kitchen with you. Teach your children to cook. Teach your children to appreciate a homemade meal. If you'll take them out to eat and see what it costs to feed a family at a restaurant today, it is crazy. I don't know how the restaurants are still in business. The cost of food has gone up so much. It is so crazy. But get in the kitchen this summer and cook with your children, cook with your grandchildren. Now, and I did halibut last week. Halibut, I thawed it out and we cooked it, and we did it in olive oil, and that was the first time I'd ever done it in just pan-fried olive oil, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Do something simple with your kids, with your grandkids, and get out there and teach them to cook. Teach them to enjoy preparing a meal for somebody. And I got tickled as we were watching those programs. So many of my grandmothers, my great-grandmothers, my great-aunts' dishes are featured in the many recipes that we do on Heart of the Home. But don't forget, the Pickens County Progress Weekly, you can pick up a copy of the Progress, and I have a recipe weekly that shares some of my favorite recipes and some of my favorite stories about it. One of my favorite things about cooking is to remember and recall the things that Doreen Lee taught me. She taught me that presentation is so very, very important. And I love to set my table with beautiful china. I love to set my table with my great-grandmother's dishes, my grandmother's dishes, my great-aunt's dishes, my Aunt Louise's dishes. I love when I make coffee in that old percolator that was my grandmother's. Those are the memories that you want to keep in your heart. And when you're teaching your children and your grandchildren, show them how your grandmother did a pinch or a T90 bit of this and a T90. Those cooks back in the old days didn't measure. I don't know how they ever wrote the old cookbooks because they didn't measure. They just kind of eyeballed it and did what they thought would work, and it always worked. My grandmother's recipes were tried and true. And I can remember her banana pudding was like the best banana pudding. And I said, well, Granny, who taught you to do that? Well, I don't know. I just watched so-and-so and watched so-and-so, and that's how we learn to cook. We watch somebody else, and that's how your children and your grandchildren will learn to cook. And truly, many of the condos that you're renting, a lot of people are doing Airbnb, and if you check into Airbnb, you often get the full use of a kitchen. favorite pots and pans, and as you travel, after a day at the beach, after a day in the mountains, get in the kitchen with your kids and just relax. Relax around the fire pit, relax on the back deck. Just relax and enjoy some time with those kids in the kitchen. I guarantee you they will grow up one day and say, you know, that pizza you taught me to make 100 years ago, Nanny, is still one of my favorites. And I was watching an old Heart of the Home, and we were in the kitchen at Harris Farm, and one of my favorite things ever to make is something that my mom taught me years and years and years and years ago. I was probably 14 years old when Mama started making this. But she did the baby pizzas on a bagel crust, and she would just cut the bagel in half and use that for crust. Well, I started doing the biscuits later, and I would tear the biscuits apart so it was a thin crust pizza. I was kind of on a health kick, and at the same time didn't have any canned biscuits, but I had a stack of those. And I thought that is absolutely perfect because it means that there's very little bread to the pizza, and that's probably the biggest sin of the pizza. All the other things were very healthy, so that's when I developed the Busy Mom's Pizza. So I took my mother's recipe from many, many years ago. I converted it to a biscuit torn in half for a long, long time, and then I changed it to Busy Mom's Pizza. So you can take your grandmother's recipe, your mom's recipe, maybe your favorite aunt's recipe, and you can change it just a little bit and you can improve it, or you can just stick with the original. But remember, a recipe is only a beginning. One of the things that we talked about today at the beginning of the program was the Burnt Mountain Center and 50 years of making a difference in the lives of very, very special friends. Those special faces, those special clients, those special people have been in the workforce. Many of them worked at the Progress for over 35 years. And we want to once again say thank you to Debbie Rooker for inviting us out to be there. And thank you for the job that you do to make a difference in the community. We look at so many jobs lost. We look at so many people who couldn't find work, and the Progress kept these special folks working for many, many years. And a big shout out to the Progress, and thank you for everything that you do for our community. It is about our communities from Ball Ground to Turtletown, and in the near future you're going to get to see my friend, who happens to be one of the McCoys of the original Hatfield and McCoys, come back and visit with us because we've had a lot of interest in her program. And I did look up the book. People are asking about the book that she has. Well, unless you have $268 that you want to spend, you will not get a copy of that book. I found one copy online, and it was $268, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So it's very expensive. It is not in print anymore. And if you find one, then you're very fortunate. I only found that one book, and I said, oh no, we can't do that. So very expensive, but a very cool story, and we're going to be sharing that. If you have a story that you'd like for us to share about maybe your family and the generations, you know, years ago we had Bill Sinyard and his family on, and we did a sad story about them, and sadly this story has lived out to be true. His family has that disorder, I guess you call it a disorder, in your chromosomes that everybody ended up with Alzheimer's. His mom, her sisters, her brothers, I think there were 12 children, and I don't know that anybody escaped Alzheimer's. That is very scary. That's one of the few families I know that everybody was affected by it. Y'all know Bill, and you love Bill, and you know what a positive force he is, especially in my life. He's always been there for me. He's always been a lot of fun. And I pray every single day that he is the one that breaks the mold to this Alzheimer's, that he never has to face that, because he's so on top of his game. He's so smart. He's so with it, and he's such a good guy. But we know our family history. So if there's something about your family history you'd like to come and visit with us on ETC, I would love to share your story. Maybe there's an unusual, amazing, positive story. Maybe there's something that we can do to help your family. Maybe there's something we can do to bring awareness. We've talked about suicide. We've talked about suicide prevention. We've talked about making a difference in other people's lives. We all have the ability to make a difference in somebody else's lives, and each and every one of you have made such a difference in my life. It'll be 4 weeks today since the biopsy came back cancer. And in those 4 weeks, I've learned so much about you. I've learned so much about how precious each and every one of you are. I've learned so much about how much I appreciate each and every one of you. For your prayers, for your many, many texts, for your calls, for your kindness. Thank you very, very, very much. Today I go back to Northside, and I'm very thankful that Kennestone transferred me to Northside now for care. Northside has a great cancer institute. They have a great wound care institute. They have so many things there that they can take care of, and I don't have to drive to Marietta 3 days a week, which is awesome. Also, I talked to Jen, and she is still, she's been kicked in the tail with this new chemo she's doing. And y'all, please keep her on your prayer list. And please continue to pray that she's fought cancer for 2 years, and she's doing great. She still has that perky, positive attitude. She is doing okay with this, although the new chemo has taken her to a level that she hadn't been before. So please, anybody who's out there battling cancer, you know that today, this day, somebody in a lab could find the cure for cancer. We know that we may be the generation that kicks its butt down the road, and I think it's time we kicked cancer's butt down the road. I think it's time that we, and we always say this, follow the money. How much money is made? When my husband was given the diagnosis that he had cancer, his doctor said, Mr. Martin, we're going to try to cut its trip short. Sadly, that didn't happen. It traveled very fast to all of his body. The day that the doctor released him, he wouldn't accept that. We went to 4 more hospitals. We were the same exact thing. But somewhere in a hospital, somebody is going to be solving this horrible, awful, yucky cancer. And we're going to stop fighting cancer one day. And one day we will say, remember that old nasty cancer? Yeah. Remember that old nasty COVID? Yeah. We kicked its butt. Let's kick its butt on down the road. It's time for me to get out of here and head down to Northside. I hope that you have a great afternoon. Get out today and do something special, but promise me that you will try some of the many simple recipes we shared today. The ice cream one was Angela's favorite. She loved doing that. She loved seeing the smiles on the kids' faces. Everybody got to eat their own ice cream. And today, as I leave you, I have one person that is on my heart so much. My beautiful granddaughter, Victoria, was at the Emmy Awards, and I know that there was an angel shining down on her as she and her dad sat there celebrating her accomplishments. To Tori, I love you. I'm so proud of you, and I wish your mom could be here to show that pride too. I'll see y'all again soon, only on ETC.